You doing, class? Welcome to week 13. I'm here with my little pooch. There she is. Yeah, yep. Um, just want to say good job on your last discussion post, um, where you were able to talk about, offer a critique against broken windows, stop and frisk policing versus human rights policing. I gave a bit of a lecture on that last week anyway. So for those of you who haven't seen that lecture, please see that lecture, very important, um, where I talked a little bit about not only the scholarship and the literature regarding the still controversial topic of get tough on policing strategies like broken windows strategy or style policing and stop and frisk. But I've also talked about some of my personal experiences with it in New York City. Um, and so a very good discussion board where many of you were using that critical sociological imagination to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of both approaches. And I think most of the class, perhaps unsurprisingly, believes that human rights should be at the forefront of all of our um, issues and all of our discussions, especially when we talk about how should we organize society, how should we arrange society, what should our institutions of society look like. And many of you seem to advocate that we need more human rights in all of our institutions. And this has been part of our overall policy to see ways that we can transform policing from a largely social control institution, primarily concerned with law enforcement, to a human rights organization, primarily concerned with protecting the human rights of the people, in particular, of the most vulnerable people in our society. And so a very good discussion board there, very encouraging, just like the rest of your discussion boards. And that was your last discussion board. So Mazel tov to you. And these were great, highly informative discussion boards. And again, most of them were really designed to get you thinking about your final report and your presentations, which I'll talk about right now. So I'll give you your instructions for the final paper right now. So your last 2 weeks, right now we're in week 13. We have 2 more weeks of the semester, week 14 and week 15. And those last 2 weeks are primarily driven towards your oral presentations. And so I put the sign-up sheet, first come, first serve. Is that the right cliche there? And so make sure that you're able to put your name either in week 14 or week 15. I want to have about 15 people in week 14 and 15 people in week 15. So max out at 15. There might be 17 slots, but max out at 15 for week 14 and week 15. The week 14 presentations are due April 28th. The week 15 is due May 5th. Your final paper is also due May 5th, although you have a 2-day leeway for that. So you can, although the paper is due May 5th, anytime that weekend prior to Monday is perfectly fine to turn it in. So you have a 2-day grace period for your final papers. Your final paper or the final report is worth 200 points. This includes your oral presentation, 2 comments that you're going to give to class colleagues, to the oral presentations, the video presentations of your class colleagues, and your final paper. So again, the 200 points includes your final paper. It includes your video presentation, and it includes 2 in-depth comments that you'll give to class colleagues on their video presentations. And of course, those assignments, those directions are also on each module on Canvas. And so check that out. Okay, and so for your video instructions, basically your video presentations for your human rights community engaged projects follow the same basic, albeit in a more limited, brief, and concise form of your final paper. Obviously no abstract or anything like that, but you have your introduction. For your video presentation, you talk about the major goals of your project, major objectives, why your community engaged study has local, national, or global importance, a rationale for the study, your intended audience, and what's the benefit of the research or the benefit of the project. Two, discussion of the community organization. So you'll describe the community organization, its history, goals, missions, accomplishments, etc. And then the organizational structure of the community organization, its major characteristics. Again, this is stuff I've already kind of given to you when I gave the instructions for your final paper, but I'm happy to briefly go over it now. Part three, a brief role of the researcher, describes the researcher's context, your interest in the topic, your investment in this particular type of study, your intentions. In other words, why did you pick this community organization? Why is it important to you, or why is it important in general? What's your interest in this community organization, and what's your goal for this community organization? And then make it clear what you did throughout this research process, like interviewing, observing, etc. And this follows along with your part four, the brief method section. Discuss how you gain access to the community organization, how you're able to collect data throughout the process, how you develop themes and how those may have changed. And so remember that you had themes even from your questions. And so those were the larger themes that you focused on in your projects. And how did you begin to make sense of your findings to talk about, related to your community organization and human rights policing? And then part five, your major takeaways, findings and takeaways, discuss your findings, takeaways that resulted from this community engaged project. Relate these findings to the major themes that you developed. Discuss some surprises or unexpected results from this community engaged project, and always use examples. It could be interview quotes, paraphrases, direct observations that substantiate your findings. So make sure you talk about that. And again, what's your major takeaway, the major thing that we need to know? And finally, and very importantly, is your policy recommendations. Discuss the major implications of the findings from your project. Clearly discuss the policy suggestions, saying, okay, here are my policy suggestions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And hopefully you can capture the voice of the community organization and its representatives to talk about how they would like to be policed, how they view human rights policing, how police can provide a better resource, for that community organization, and so on. Dog just jumped with me here. That's lanyap. That's a name, a Cajun Creole name from New Orleans. Lanyap means a little something extra. Let's see what else. And really, that's it. Those are the policy recommendations. So just make sure that these policy recommendations discuss human rights and policing as it relates specifically to that community organization. Other than that, that's all. I believe it's pretty easy to post a presentation online. I generally, when I make these videos, I use Zoom, and then I make a link, and then I usually post that link on YouTube, but you can post it on something else like Rumble or anywhere else. Sometimes you can just use the canvas and post it right up on the module, but if there's no space, again, I usually use YouTube or Rumble or something like that. And so pretty easy to do. If you have any problems, just ask any other class colleague. They'll tell you to do it, or the tech support, or even email me, but it's a pretty easy process. A lot of students find the oral presentations, not a lot, but some find the oral presentations a little intimidating. But really, after the whole thing is done, students are very glad that they did it. You are an expert. What you're presenting on is something that you are the expert on. You know more than me and anybody else. You're the one that went to the community organization. You're the one that talked to the people there. You're the one that did the work. And so how that community organization views human rights policing. How that community organization views the best practices for the police, how police can better represent and serve that community, how police can better protect the human rights of the people in that community. So you're the expert. You're teaching me something. You're teaching everyone in the class something. And so I think we're all going to get a lot out of that. I know I do. I learn a lot from many of you, and I incorporate a lot of your own findings into my thinking and into my research. And so I use that as inspiration. We can even use a lot of your findings to inform the police department here. I have many close ties to the police officers here in this area, and we can use some of your findings to become a voice to actually shape the way police behave in this community. And so um, I think this can go a long way. So you're the expert on this topic. You've created something original and something unique and something that you can be proud of. And I'm certainly looking forward to your oral presentations, and the rest of the class will be listening to your video presentations. We'll be making responses and everything else. Just follow the instructions that are provided in the module on Canvas. It's all there. And I very much look forward to finishing strong the last 2 weeks and hearing about your final human rights policing community engaged projects, and also reading about it in your final report, and listening to and also reading your final policy analysis. And so y'all have done a great job. You have a lot to be proud of. I'm proud of all of you, and you've done a great job. Let's finish this strong, y'all, and take care. See you on the discussion board. This week I'm going to give you nothing else to do this week. I'm just going to give you time to prepare for your presentation and final paper. I have office hours as usual, so feel free to send me an email to schedule any time to visit with me. Other than that, I'll see y'all online. Thank you very much.